Welcome to Let's Be Well Together podcast. We're your wellness check-in team. Join us each week or when you can. We enjoy exploring wellness concepts and reminding you to make time for wellness.
Episode 128. And welcome to another episode of Let's Be Well Together podcast. It's Sheila Webster here, and I am joined with John Webster. Hi, John. What's on your mind?
What is on my mind today is something big. It's a change to the show format.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I'm getting cut out of my part.
Yes. Yeah. No more Sheila. It's funny because a lot of times if Sheila comes home from work and she's listened to the podcast, comments could sometimes include, not enough Sheila?
Not enough Sheila.
That was a good amount of Sheila.
Yeah.
So no, that is not it, Sheila.
Okay.
You're still in and you're going to maybe even be more. I don't know.
I doubt it.
We've been talking about this for a few months. I always try and make sure that if I'm going to change something that's working, then be really careful.
Yeah.
Don't fix it if it's not broken.
Yeah, he has to overthink everything.
Right.
Before it actually gets into a thought process. And then he starts talking about it. And then we wind down into what we're going to do.
Right. So I've been having this conversation with Sheila for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't broken. So that makes it even harder because I think things are going well. But I want to make sure things stay fresh and go well. So
yeah, because my problem was I really enjoy the format. I really enjoy listening to everything that's going to happen, all the flip sides and the pop-ups and the move that bodies. So I was a little bit against this at first. I thought, I don't think so. I don't think you want to change it. It's not broke. Why change it? But you talked me into it.
Let's explain what we're talking about.
Okay.
So first of all, I was having a practical problem, which was when we initially started working on the podcast, I told the whole team that I always want to stay 8 weeks ahead.
Right.
And what I mean by that is having 8 shows in a can ready to drop. So I never, in any given week, I'd never be rushed in the few days before the episode.
Right.
And that lasted for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you were thinking that this could be possible.
Yeah, people have lives and it's hard to get everything done.
Well, more importantly, you have a life. You are a busy person.
Yeah, I'll come back to that maybe. But so then it was staying like 4 weeks ahead and then it was 3 weeks for a long time. But for the last at least 2 months, actually, it wasn't as bad till after we started our conversation. But at this point, I'm just playing catch up, like the Saturday and Sunday before the episode drops, which means I lose a lot of time on each weekend.
Right.
In the summer.
Right.
So I'm missing out on lots of stuff to get the episodes out. So I was thinking, okay, how can I make it more efficient? The other problem is because I kind of do it all, I have to edit each recording, put them all together.
Right.
And then even once I get that done, I have to listen to do a write-up. I have to make social media images. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, right now we have 6 segments. So each show starts with what's on your mind. And then we have the expanding mind interview.
Yep.
And then we do a starving artist.
Right.
Move that body. Running pop-up and Flipside.
There you go.
I'm thinking, how can I streamline things? And so here's what we came up with. It's actually changed. Initially, I was going to do something else, but here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to always have what's on your mind, 10 minutes.
Right.
We're always going to have an interview, about 15 minutes.
Right.
But then we're going to rotate between the next 4. And we're going to combine 2 of them. So,
okay.
So week 1 on the rotation, move that body.
Right.
5 minutes or so. Week 2, a combined running pop-up with a starving artist.
Okay.
And they're a bit shorter, so it's probably still going to be about 5 minutes. And then week 3, Flipside.
Okay.
And that's what hurts me the most. I really love Flipside. I love doing them with you.
Yeah.
I love hearing Steven and Elise talk.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish we'd have Flipside every episode, but I still think it makes sense because if we now have 3 parts to the show and a sign-off.
Yeah, we'll always do sign-off, so we can do a little flip side at sign-off if we need to.
We're going to cut it down from about 50 minutes to about 35 minutes. And here's the other point that I think is important. We've now done like 120 episodes.
Wow.
Over
120, yeah.
And there's some really important themes. One of them is keeping art as part of wellness, which is why I always want to have that little reminder, having
that artist.
And so Cam's adventures. And moving that body, like physical health is like one of the main themes of the show.
Definitely.
So we want to keep saying, move that body, move that body.
It's unbelievable the stuff that I've learned from this show about moving that body.
Right.
You know, things that I didn't think about. I didn't realize that it encompassed so many other aspects of life and helps.
But even the way really it's gone, it wasn't what I was initially targeting. Initially, the idea was I wanted to just talk to somebody new every week, just like regular people.
Yes, you did.
Why do you love, what's the thing that you love?
Right. How do you like to move your body? And let's talk about it.
What do you get out of it?
Yeah.
It's just been really hard to connect with people. I've been throwing feelers out and I don't hear back. So,
well, it's interesting because I've thrown feelers out too. And the one thing that surprised me above all else is that people are afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid to come online and actually or come on air and talk about it. Talk about what they like to do or just talk at all. So I don't have public speaking issues. So for me, that's not a problem. So that really surprised me that they're like, oh no, I couldn't.
Well, whatever the reason, it was getting really hard. And so then for the most part, we'd find interesting things to talk about, social media posts, articles.
Right.
That's where we learned so much.
Yes.
But I want to keep it fresh, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm starting to look for stuff to talk about, I'm starting to see a lot of, hey, we've talked about that already.
Yes.
So let's keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So if we do Move That Body every 3 weeks, I think we can keep it fresher. And the same for running pop-ups. And I'm sure it's going to be the same. Cameron's going to find it a little easier to keep it fresh by doing it every 3 weeks. And again, the one we could definitely do every week is Flipside. But
yeah. But I think this is really cool. As a listener, I'm actually kind of excited about this because, as most of you probably don't know, but I don't get to hear the podcast until it drops. So I'm really excited to know what's going to happen. And now I have something else to be excited about because I don't know it's going to be.
You'll forget the rotation.
Yeah, I won't know the rotation. Yeah. And so I'll be like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. And so I'll just be excited. Oh, it's Flipside. Oh, I get to hear this. Or I get to hear Cameron. And I just feel like, wow, it's going to be cool to hear. So I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to give it a shot. So with any luck, we'll have a bit of a shorter show.
Yeah, which I think might make it easier for people to listen to, maybe.
Yeah, more digestible, as they say. Or
more digestible.
I don't know. What is the podcast term for that?
More edible. I don't know.
And then and then just throw this out there for people who are like, hey, I really want to hear more Move That Bodies. Just remember, I know that we've had some listeners and we're so grateful that have been listening throughout. Some listeners who've caught up on all the episodes. But for a lot of people, there's tons of back episodes there. There's so many really great things we talked about and we don't tend to repeat ourselves. For those people, go back and listen to a whole bunch.
Yeah, Move That Bodies, go listen to them all. We got some great Move That Bodies. Yeah, or you want to listen to Cameron's adventures?
Okay, so should I knock on wood? I wonder what it'll sound like on the mic. Just knocked on wood that our new format works well, and we hope you guys enjoy it. Guests are giving their time, expanding our minds. Today's interview is in the category of social wellness. Mark Preece was a young physician working in the intensive care unit at Hamilton Health Sciences until his untimely death by cancer in 1997. Mark's family and friends experienced firsthand the value and support of a welcoming, affordable residence during such a difficult time. And we welcome Chris Pelletier, who tells us about a wonderful initiative, the Mark Preece Family House. They commemorate Mark's life by supporting families in need. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much for having me.
Chris Pelletier discovered his love of communications while in high school, while working at a student newspaper. And his love continued as he ran the student newspaper at Nipissing University before entering the broadcast journalism program at Canadore College. For more than 25 years, Chris has been involved in the field of marketing and communications in both the for-profit and not-for-profit sectors and Indigenous organizations. Chris, his wife Cindy, and their dog Charlie moved to Winnipeg in 2016, where he worked and completed a BA at University of Manitoba. He served as communications officer with the First Nations Family Advocate Office, and upon returning to Ontario in 2022, Chris took on the role as communications and development specialist at the Mark Preece Family House. He's helping to improve their visibility in the community through social media and other means. So Chris, my dad fell ill at his cottage just over a year before he passed away. And he lived his whole life in Kitchener-Waterloo, and he had a cottage in Sauble Beach. We were all surprised to find out that the Sauble area is connected with a London hospital, not the KW hospital. So family scrambled to find a place, including for my mum to stay while he was in London, And most of us just traveled back and forth and visited as best we could. So I can really imagine how the Mark Preece family house helps people when loved ones are in hospital, and looking forward to hearing about it. And maybe we can start with Mark. Please tell us a little bit about him.
Well, as you mentioned in the opening, he was a physician at the intensive care unit at Hamilton Health Sciences Center. During the last 6 months of his battle with cancer, he was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to undergo specialized care that was not available in Canada. And while he was there, his family was able to stay at a hospital family house. And when they came back, they realized that there was nothing like that up here. So they decided to get working on the project. And so in 2001, they incorporated the Hospital Family Houses of Ontario. And that was the umbrella organization for the project. And after he passed, unfortunately, they decided that they would name the house in his honor. And it has operated since 2011. It's been open since 2011, in spite of a massive fire that pretty much gutted the building in 2008 when they were nearing completion. They were able to rebuild, up from the ashes, so to speak. And it opened in 2011, and there are 24 rooms at the house, and it all bears his name.
That's amazing. And did that mean, for example, that they had to get funding initially to either buy a house or to build one?
Well, the building is owned by Hamilton Health Sciences Center.
Okay.
It was originally a malt house, and then it was a machine shop, and then it sat empty for a number of years. And then the Hamilton Health Sciences Center decided to allow the Mark Preece family house to lease the property. So we are tenants of HHS, so to speak, but we are separate from them. So we don't receive any funding from Hamilton Health Sciences or from the provincial government or federal government or municipal or United Way or anything like that. So all of the funding comes from fundraising and events, donations, grants, and things of that nature.
There's a lot out there, and it's hard to get people's attention. So doing it all on your own, that's pretty amazing, especially because of what they've developed. And with 24 rooms, just tell me generally what happens then. Here's what I imagine. Somebody's in hospital in Hamilton. Somehow they find you. Presumably they either get subsidized housing or they can stay there. How does it work?
Yeah, it's pretty close to what you said, but it is done by referral. So the guests are referred to the Mark Preece family house by the members of their health team. So whether it's a social worker, a physician, a nurse, they get referred to us, and then we're able to take them in, and they pay $60 a night. And there's kitchen facilities, laundry facilities, free parking, which is very handy for people who are, if they're at the general hospital, because Mark Preece family house is right next to the hospital. So they don't have to pay for parking all the time. And having the kitchen facilities means that they don't have to eat out every day for however long they're there. Same thing with laundry facilities. And people can stay as long as they need to. A lot of the time it's just for a night. Sometimes it's for a few nights. The average is just over 6 days. And the longest stay that we've ever had was 266 nights. Family member was there for 9 months. In the past year, we served almost 600 families, and we had about 6,000 nights stayed by family members. And so while people are staying there, they're able to just come back after a long day being at the hospital and just relax. And we have a wonderful living room area where people can just sit, have a cup of tea, chat with other guests. And I've seen so many times when people have been in different families have just been sitting and chatting and supporting each other because they're all in the same boat. And whether it's somebody who has been in a car accident or somebody who has been who has an acquired brain injury, or if they're undergoing cancer treatments or undergoing hyperbaric treatments, then everybody's there and they're able to just relax and recharge their batteries, so to speak.
I can imagine that being so helpful. I know, like in the situation I was describing, luckily my mom had a friend who lived in the same city, but it was about a 20-minute to 25-minute drive away. Mm-hmm. And it always seemed to be such a grind. It would have been so much more convenient. And even parking, like every hospital in Canada, parking is a huge issue, whether you can even park close. And if you can, it's really expensive.
Oh, yes. And recently we had a family who the husband was undergoing cancer treatments, and the wife was staying at the house while he was doing the treatments. They were coming from Port Colborne, and neither of them drove. So for the first couple of days, they had to take a taxi back and forth every day. And it was costing them $300 a day just in taxis. So being able to offer them a place that's close by and a place where they can just be themselves and, not have to worry about where they're going to sleep, where they're going to eat, where they're going to, get their laundry done or things like that.
And do you find that usually it's, either one person in a room or a couple, or do you have situations where there might be, family members and there might be maybe parents and a couple kids, something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do have that quite often. In most cases, it is a spouse or a parent, but there have been occasions where we've had several family members staying at the same time. We have a family room upstairs, which has 2 twin beds, a queen bed, and a pull-out couch. And we've had families in there, and they brought air mattresses. So we've had a dozen people staying in that one room. So we're able to accommodate people pretty well. But most of the time, it's 1 or 2 people who are staying, or somebody comes for a few days and then they trade off to somebody else and they continue on for a couple of other days.
It's amazing what Mark's family and friends got going. Are any of them still involved in how this is carrying on?
They are great supporters of the Mark Preece House. Originally, they were on the board, and as years have gone by, they have drifted away from being on the board, but they're still very actively involved with the house.
And do you hear from people, in terms of what they appreciate or like about the experience or how it's changed things for them?
We get so many letters and cards and donations from former guests. It is amazing. I've posted a number of thank you notes to our social media, and some of them are just so heartfelt. And if you look at the Google reviews, it's all these former guests who are saying, "You guys saved my life. This was so nice and warm and comforting and home-like." Just being able to see those messages is wonderful to hear, wonderful to see.
Well, I know I always appreciate when people help, and it feels even that much better when it's times of real need. And then there's people, and especially when it's so unexpected, like, why would anyone set this up for me to have this help? So that's fantastic. And what about, how can other people help? Like, how can some of our listeners help, or how can people in your community help?
Well, if you go to the website, markpreecehouse.ca, you can make a donation there. There are other ways that you can donate. You can check out our wish lists. We have one on Amazon, and we also have one that is a combined list through My Registry, and it is Amazon and Costco. And so we're always looking for supplies. So whether it's toilet paper, laundry detergent, coffee pods, just anything like that, we're always looking for donations like that.
Does that mean that, somehow Costco is set up so people can say, "Hey, Costco, I want you to get so many Tim Hortons coffee pods and give them to Mark Preece House"?
Well, they buy whatever they want, and they can have it shipped to the Mark Preece House.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, that's where we get a significant amount of our supplies. But there's also a couple of programs where we have one called Adopt a Day, where people can sponsor the day at the Mark Preece House, and it's $500, and we usually have it so that people can share their messages. So whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, a memorial message for someone who has unfortunately passed away, or anything like that. And we have another program called Time for Dinner, spelled THYME. It allows individuals, groups, organizations to come in and prepare a meal prepared dinner for our guests.
That's amazing.
And we have some regular organizations. We have a Lions Club who comes in on a monthly basis, and they prepare dinner for everybody. We have the retired nurses, the retired ICU nurses at St. Joe's who come in on a monthly basis, and they make dinner as well. And the nice thing with them is they actually worked with Mark, so they're able to share their stories about him. We have other groups that come in and they're one-offs, but sometimes they come and they like it, they enjoy themselves, they're able to see the impact that they're making with the guests, who are usually just exhausted from being at the hospital all day, and they can just come in and say, oh, I don't have to worry about dinner. We've had people come in and just bring a bunch of pizzas. With Time for Dinner, we offer the opportunity to sponsor a dinner. So for $250, that money goes into the pot to buy dinner for guests on a semi-regular basis. So we have a number of different ways that people can help. And, people can just go to the website and find all the information there. Going back to where some of the guests are coming from, we do get guests from all over the place. The only stipulation for guests is that they can't live in Hamilton.
Right.
So, we have people from Burlington, but we also have people from Brantford, Welland, Niagara region. We get people from up north. So we have people from Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie. And I think it's about 42% of the guests live more than 4 hours away. We have a lot of people coming in from all over the place, including internationally, because Hamilton is a health center of excellence. And so they're getting treatments that aren't available anywhere. And so they're coming in, and we've had people from Japan, Australia, the UK. It's difficult enough being in a different country, but being able to stay in some place where, you don't have to worry about as much as you would if you were staying in a hotel.
It's just really amazing. And what a way to honor and commemorate Mark. It's just fantastic. I love the part about some of the people who used to work with him. They still can find a way to feel that connection, which I
Absolutely.
love. Okay, well, Chris, we are at the end, and we're a show about wellness, and we talk about different categories of wellness. And so we actually have a question that we ask every guest in a context where it's really difficult to have all of our categories going at any given time. So we do a mini wellness check-in. So Chris, today, can you think of an area of wellness that's important to you that's languishing a bit? And can you think of even one thing that you could do to foster wellness in that area?
For myself or for the guests?
Oh, that's a good one. Because I said guess.
Well,
I'm going to ask you, Chris, what about you?
Well, you hear all these stories from people about their struggles with their family members, and your heart bleeds for them. You want to be able to just tell them everything's going to be okay, but it might not be. We do have a staff at the house. There are 6 full-time staff, half a dozen part-time staff. We have volunteers. And so we lean on each other, and we're able to get that wellness component. But for the guests, part of it is the fact that they are able to open up to us about everything that's happening, about their fears and their anxieties. But they're also able to open up to each other. As I mentioned earlier, I see people in the living room just, having a cup of tea and having a conversation and just talking about what the prognosis is and things like that. And there have been times where, I've seen people hugging each other because they're just crying so much. But I've also been sitting in my office on the other side of the building and just hearing gales of laughing as the people are just able to just let it all out and just relax. So being in a supportive environment that is very home-like and relaxing. And I think that's probably one of the best things about the house. The fact that it is a home away from home. One of our taglines is it's the calm in the storm, because you're dealing with all these issues with the health of your loved one, and you just come back to the house and you're able to just decompress.
you just touched on so many points that remind me of themes that we often talk about on our show. So a few of them are, obviously we say to people, if you feel like you need help and to reach out, that you should talk to someone professional who can help. But so many times when we're feeling off, we don't need that level of help, but it sure does help to talk to somebody. And whether it's family or friends or in the setting you're talking about, the people who work there or each other or other guests, it sounds fantastic. And the other thing too is, luckily the stigma, a little bit of those feelings about talking about feeling anxious or depressed or sad, it's slowly going away. So it opens the door for guests and staff and you to talk to each other. So that's fantastic. Well, I'm really glad you reached out to tell me a little bit about this and that we got a chance to talk to you about it. And hopefully our listeners find it just as interesting as I do. And best of luck with everything going forward.
Well, thank you very much.
We hope you're enjoying the show, and we hope you're finding ways to foster wellness in the categories that are important to you. If you like what you're hearing, head to our website, letsbewelltogether.com, and then to the archives page. It includes a quick summary of the different segments of all of our shows back to the start. Have a look and see if there's something interesting you want to listen to, and listen to one of our past episodes.
Move that body like we're meant to do.
What do you got for us today, Sheila?
I read this online, so I thought I'd let you know and get your opinion.
Okay.
So it's called the 5-5-5-30. You're supposed to do this every morning, and it's supposed to be amazing for your metabolism and to get your body moving and get you going. So the 5s are 5 push-ups, 5 squats, 5 lunges, and then you do a 30-second plank.
And do you do all these without weights? So these are just body weight?
Just body weight.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you get out of bed, it says.
So as soon as you get out of bed. I was going to ask, like, is it within the first half hour? Or?
Yeah, as soon as you get out of bed. You're supposed to do this right away, and it just gets your body moving, works that core, gets everything ready to go, and it gets your metabolism working. So I'm going to try it.
Well, whether or not it's actually going to get your metabolism going, I think it's fantastic. I talk a lot on the show about I see core as different than strength training. A lot of people think they're the same thing, and a lot of people mix core in with strength, and it may be the same thing, but just in my own mind, I think it works better for me to think of them separately.
Right.
I try and do 2 or 3 weight training sessions in a week, but with core, I try and do it more often. All of the exercises you mentioned are in the 10 core exercises I try and do at least 5 days a week. So I have these like 10 exercises. I can do them at my desk, whether at work or at home. I love the idea of kind of getting out of bed and just moving your body because, of course, dynamic stretching, which Sheila always laughs about.
I was actually doing that the other day, like at the gym. I was like, dynamic stretching.
Yeah. Why are we talking about this? For people who don't listen, Sheila is a ballet dancer, and she's extremely flexible, and she does all kinds of static stretches, which are, imagine things like hurdle stretching.
Real stretching.
You know, but you're static. You're holding a position for a long time to stretch those muscles.
Yes.
And I'm a runner. I hate that. All runners do. The good ones do it. The bad ones like me don't. But what I do is what I call dynamic stretches. And Sheila likes to laugh at them. But in a way, these are all statics, except for the plank. They're also all kind of like dynamic stretches as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it's dynamic stretching, I think, is great for warming up. I don't consider it a stretch, really.
No.
And that's my point, that, you know, do these dynamic stretches that you're talking about before you exercise. Excellent. Get those muscles moving. And I think that's what this is all about. Those 5, 5, 5, and 30. It gets all those basic muscles working. And the other thing I did want to say in this, I also read that for older people, guess what the main exercise that they should do is? And we're talking older as in like
push-up.
Squats.
Yeah, well, you know what squats is, to me, squats is the most important exercise anyone should do.
Yeah, and that's what this said, especially for older people, squats.
Right.
And it gets, because you, like, the glutes are your biggest muscles. So if you get those muscles working, and you do those a lot, right? So it's just great to do
every
squats.
time I read anything about working out and weights and all that, like every single one has squats in it.
Yeah. Squats.
And I like doing different kinds on my weight training days, but I like doing air squats. Now, the other thing about dynamic stretching and what you're talking about, so I've always thought of it as lubricating my joints. And what you're saying is to get your system moving.
Yes. But it's kind of the same thing, right? Because getting your system moving is getting the blood running through those joints and into those muscles, and right? So it's kind of the same.
It makes sense that if it's lubricating your joints, it's also getting other things going. And here's the other thing I love about it. So I have these 10 core exercises I like to do. I've been pretty bad at it the last couple of years. I go in spurts where I'll do them for 2 months and then I won't. So I'm going to get back to it again now.
Okay.
But to me, I call it my litmus test.
Oh.
And so if you can do those squats and you can do, squats, lunges, push-ups, and the 30-second plank.
You got it.
If you can do that every morning easily, then it's a good sign that, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can't do those things, which all connect a lot of important muscles and core, something's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you can't hold that 30-second plank, okay, you got to work on your core.
Yeah.
If you're having a hard time with push-ups.
Those arms.
But I just also love the idea of just getting that burst of energy for when you first wake up.
Exactly. And we're not asking a lot here. It's only 5, 5, 5, and 30, right? What's that? A minute?
Yeah. Well,
I can do this.
Okay. Why don't we check in like 2 months and see if you've been doing it for a while and if you think it makes a difference?
Okay.
Please remember that we're not providing advice. We hope to inspire you to work towards balance, and we urge you to consult with qualified people if you need advice. The people on the show are speaking in their personal capacities. Their views expressed are their own and don't represent the views or opinions of their outside contacts, their employers, or anyone else. We try to get things right, but we can't guarantee everything we say is correct or that the things we talk about will work for you. Let's be well together, and let's be sure to do that in a safe way.
And it's sign-off time. It's Elise here with John and Sheila.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, we just had our first week of summer. It went by really fast. They always do. The summer weeks go so fast. But we had a bit of a catch-up week. We had several appointments to go to. We did manage to get to the beach and try out a new floaty.
Ooh.
That was really fun. It's a 2-person floaty, so we can float together.
Nice.
Pretty exciting.
Don't get lost. You can fit that in your little car, the 2 floaty?
Yes, and we also invested in a portable inflator.
Oh.
So that helps. So we can inflate and then deflate while we're at the beach. We're just really upgrading our beach gear because we just love being at the beach in the summer. So I think that's our plan for this week, is try to head to the beach as much as we can. I know it's a hard life.
Very hard.
How about you, John?
Well, what you don't know, Elise, because we're doing sign off before you get to listen to the podcast, there's another new thing, which is our new show format, which you're going to hear.
Woo! Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit shorter. I'm doing great. I'm at the point where I've now been sticking pretty well to healthy eating, exercising, and all that stuff for probably going on like 6 to 8 weeks now. And it's that great time where I'm not there yet with that kind of really good feeling, that really fantastic feeling of just walking around, being at the right weight, being strong and all that. But I'm getting an inkling of it. When I walk around work this week, a couple times I went to the coffee machine. I'm like, I'm feeling really good. And that's inspiring to do more. So that's fantastic. And what about you, Sheila?
Well, I had an interesting week too, because it was a short week. So for me, I only had to work 2 days this week. So I got some workout in, and it was actually kind of relaxing because I was able to think for a minute. You know, I wasn't crazy running around, but I was doing some gardening. I like to keep my grass weeded. And because I was away quite a bit, it was a little behind. So I was weeding a lot this weekend. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I was weeding. And all of a sudden, my back. I just was sitting and I just started getting these spasms. John thought it was hilarious.
Not at all.
So anyways, I didn't go to work out today because I thought I should maybe take it easy. So that's a bit of a drag because I was having a great week and then all of a sudden, boom. But hopefully take it easy, and, you know, just kind of, there's like a little bit of a pinched nerve there. So I have to let it go. And hopefully my week will be great.
Well, hopefully by next sign off, you'll be feeling better.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you did like the new show format, and we're looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Just for the record, there's no farting, breathing, humming.
That is not an unusual request for a podcast.
I don't know.
That is it for today's show. Please try and make wellness a priority.
You deserve it.
If you feel the need to talk to someone or ask for help, please do that.
Accept yourself for the person you are.
So long.
Adieu.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Goodbye.